Welcome to the Connect4Climate live stream from the World Bank in Washington, D.C., where we are celebrating the 10th anniversary of the Forest Carbon Partnership Facility. And we're here exactly with the coordinator of the fund, Ellysar Baroudy, who I'm going to start by asking. We're looking at 10 years of work with several organizations, several business companies, indigenous people, also international developing organizations. How do you look back and how do you look forward as well when it comes to what the fund is doing?
So I look back with tremendous pride. To be honest, the bank stepped into this space at a time that not many people were in this space, and we've all grown together as a group. So around the table of the FCPF, we have governments from forest countries, governments from donor countries, we have indigenous people, civil society, representatives of the United Nations, representatives from private sector, international organizations. Together, we've grown to understand how we try to address difficult issues such as deforestation, forest degradation, and how this can benefit climate, environment, and people. So it's really important, and it's nice to see how this has grown over the last 10 years. We still have work to do because we want to go into implementation and showing that we need to change business as usual on the ground. So once we are successful at changing practices on the ground, this should really allow for other climate finance streams to come on board, and that would be where we've been really successful and help to make changes that deliver for people and for climate.
Mm-hmm. Let me just interrupt to tell our audience that you can follow this conversation also on other social media channels using the hashtags C4C Zone and Better with Forests. We're also looking at the future of forests, and we're looking to what's coming next. And that is my question to you and your organization. What are the next steps when it comes to protecting forests?
I think we're all aware that deforestation rates continue to rise. And they're rising for various reasons. They're rising because agriculture is needed, and so people are cutting down trees to make space. It's rising because people need energy, so they're cutting wood for fuel wood. It rises for various reasons, and there's also illegal logging and a variety of factors. So countries are starting to take a step back to look at what these drivers of deforestation are and how they address them. They're at the stage now of understanding the fundamentals and how to make the change. What is needed going forward is to physically make the changes on the ground to stop deforestation, but also allow people to have the livelihoods they need with these changes in place. So I think the most important thing that we're looking at is to make sure we have what we call real green growth, so economic development, but not at the cost of people, not at the cost of the environment, and really that everybody together benefits. But it's got to be a very different system, and that's what countries are trying to do.
Mm-hmm. We know forests are life, and we also know that forests are an important issue when it comes to tackle climate change. But why are they important for development?
Forests are super important for development. They're important for the environment for many reasons. They help modulate the local climate. They help reduce tremendous runoff when there's rain. They maintain so much for us in the environment, whether locally or globally. So they can not just help local development, because people really benefit from what they can gain from forests in just day-to-day living or from products, but the climate, it's super important for the climate, and we all know that climate change is a super critical issue. Climate change impacts development, it impacts all the costs we have to address the negative impacts, and forests can contribute so much to alleviating this. So for example, we know forests can contribute to absorbing CO2 from the atmosphere, so we should just let them do what they do best. They help regulate the environment, they provide so much for people, they're just fantastic to look at even, right? So the whole package that forest brings is amazing, and we should really work to maintain those and to help them grow, not shrink.
Ellie, one last question. You're also working with the World Bank when it comes to forest carbon. My question is, what is this organization doing to maximize what it comes to goals related with forest conservation?
So the World Bank is doing many things. The Forest Carbon Partnership Facility is one trust fund, but the bank has its own resources, IDA and IBRD, that it would use for investments to help countries achieve those goals. There's other funds, there's the Forest Investment Program, there's the Global Environment Facility funds. countries are starting to use this menu of finance that is available to help themselves, and we really encourage that, because in order to change things you need to invest in a different system, and if the bank can do more in that role to help countries understand what opportunities there are and what potential avenues could be taken, I think the role of the bank there would be very positive if it could go down that path.
So when it comes to the Paris Agreement rules related with forest conservation, are you hopeful?
I am hopeful. Over 100 countries have said that they want to address land use issues under the Paris Agreement. So that's exactly the work that we are doing with countries now to help them achieve their own ambitions for reducing emissions, addressing climate, but also addressing their own economic growth and helping their people and their environments to be more successful.
Thank you so much. This is a very hopeful side of what's going on in terms of forest conservation. We're here to celebrate the 10th anniversary of the Forest Carbon Partnership Facility. Thank you for watching.